This video is brought to you by my two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and The Blues Guitar Bible. Want to learn about modes, harmony, scales, chord substitution and keys? Or maybe you're interested in supercharging your blues guitar rhythm and lead chops. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee you will be hitting the fast lane to progress with either of these works. Both feature video demonstrations and tutorials, loads of tabs and jam tracks to play along with, and I promise you, everything is explained in crystal clear plain English. Check out the links in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. That little piece of music there you might have recognised if you're watching on Monday, because it's the jam track that I used for this Monday's video talking about basic lead guitar techniques. I haven't actually made that video yet, but it will be going out before this one. Today's Wednesday though, and on Wednesdays at the moment, it's just all about the topic of songwriting. Not writing lyrics or anything like that, because, you know, I don't consider myself anything of a expert on that, but I do know a thing or two about putting chord sequences together, and it's one of the topics that I often engage in with my students, you know, getting them to put together a little piece of music so that the kind of, basically, if you know how music is put together, it makes it easier to kind of learn a song. If you know the techniques that you know, a song has been put together with, then, you know, it makes it easier to learn it and memorize it, and, you know, you don't always need to have the chords in front of you. It's one of the reasons I do that. But I'll often get my students to do some little kind of songwriting exercise, or like put a chord sequence together. And there's one rather obvious aspect of doing this that I find often gets overlooked, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So here's a little bit of information on the topic.
Here is the explanation.
So the thing I'm always conscious about whenever I'm putting any group of chords together as the basis of a piece of music is I need there to be a focus. I need there to be a chord, one chord in particular, which is what I'm going to think of as the musical centre of gravity. The technical term for it is the tonality chord, where when you reach that chord and you kind of play that chord, everything sounds resolved and finished. It's basically, in layman's terms, you can describe it as the chord which everything sounds good ending on for a piece of music. And in that little demo piece that you heard earlier, the chord in question was C major. Now, as we saw last week, what you can do is you can kind of play something in the key of C major, if you like. But you can also borrow chords from other keys which contain a C major chord. So C major is the 1 chord in the key of C major. It's the 4 chord in the key of G major, and it's the 5 chord in the key of F major. And I did a little bit of that in the demo there. I used a B flat chord, which isn't from the key of C major, it's from the key of F major. It just adds a little bit of colour and a little bit of interest. And you can borrow chords from, it's basically not limited to borrowing chords from keys where the tonality chord can be found, but it's a commonplace way of doing it. You can literally borrow a chord from any key. If it pleases your ear, it's right, basically. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. This idea that music theory is just a list of do's and don'ts is for the birds, really. You know, if it sounds good, it's right. And there will be some nook and cranny of a music theory topic, you know, something on a dusty old music theory book on a shelf somewhere that will tell you why you can do what you can do. But anyway, or why what you did worked, I should say. So if it pleases your ear, put any chords in you want. But the thing remains that you do really need, for it to be a satisfying musical experience, you do need to have a chord where everything sounds resolved. And there's basically a couple of commonplace ways of doing that. You know, and I use them both in the example earlier. The first one was right at the top of the tune. I started on an F chord, then went to a G chord, and then we end on a C chord. You can hear just straight away that is. When you land on that C chord, however you want to play it, it sounds resolved. That C chord is not leaving you with the feeling that, yeah, we need to move on to another chord. Here's an example. If I was to go F to G to maybe back to an F again. See what I mean? It just wants to resolve back to that C. So what you do there is you think, well, okay, that's the 4 chord going to the 5 chord. That will 99% of the time always want to resolve to the 1 chord or the relative minor of the 1 chord, which in the case of C major, the relative minor is A minor, so it will resolve perfectly nicely there as well. Ooh, I do apologise, I'm a little bit out of tune, but you get the idea. There, so it resolved to either the major chord or the relative minor chord, the 1 chord or the 6 chord in the key. That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is to basically just go for the relative minor of this 4 chord here. So F, the relative minor of F, is a D minor. Let's use that. Go from the D minor to the G and then to the C chord. So again, it sounds resolved when you hit that there. Let's try it again. If I go D minor to G to F, yeah, it's kind of wanting to resolve there. You can hear how much more settled it sounds once you get to that chord there. Now this thing where I'm essentially using the relative minor of that F chord, which is the 4 chord in the key, the relative minor is D minor. That's the 2 chord in the key. Okay, D minor is the chord based on the second note of a C major scale: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. D, the D note in the scale, second note in the scale, gives us a D minor chord. And the G chord is the 5th note, is the 5 chord in the key. So what we're doing there is something called a 2, 5, 1 chord sequence. And there are various different variations of that 2-5-1 chord sequence that no doubt we'll end up looking at in this series of videos. But that's it for now. Basically, all you need to know is whichever chord you want to resolve to, use the 4 chord, 5 chord, and that'll take you to the 1 chord, or the relative minor of the 1 chord. So F and G will take you to a C or an A minor. Or you can get the relative minor of the F chord, the 4 chord, turn it into and make that like a D minor, and then place the 5 chord, and that will give you a nice way to resolve to the 1 chord. Or once again, that'll take you to the relative minor of the 1 chord, the A minor. Again, sounds perfectly settled when you hit that chord, even with a slightly out of tune guitar. So those are just a couple of little strategies that I use when I want to make a piece of music sound like it's heading towards and resolving onto a particular chord. And it's just a standard songwriting little trope that you can use. So now you know what to do. Go away and have some fun with it. And as always, you'll find a full tab for that piece of music at the top of the video in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that explanation you've just seen there, and the audio from the jam track as well, so that you can, you know, have a play along and just basically have a jam over it. It's a jam track. Long-winded way of saying that, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, all of those resources are up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description. There are 2 tiers of membership, $3 a month, which gets you all of the additional you know, resources that go along with these YouTube videos, tabs, jam tracks, all that sort of stuff, the stuff that's always been up there. And then the higher tier of membership also gets you twice monthly Zoom hangout with me and the other tier 2 members, as well as some extra reaction videos and other content that I'm putting up there at the moment, and having a mighty fine time doing it. Of course, a massive, massive thank you to everyone who supports me in those ways or any of the other ways, all of which are down in the description. Thank you so much, everyone. It is genuinely appreciated. And if you can't afford to subscribe or sign up to any of those kind of things at the moment, then don't worry, just hit the subscribe button on here. It costs nothing. Ring the notification bell and maybe leave a comment down below. Every little helps, as they say. And with that, I'll bid you all a good day. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars and many, many, many other things. It's a fantastic way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.